Another day, another surprise, huh? Staying focused on the same storyline we focused yesterday because I was shocked by several of the comments I received, the vast majority positive, because many of you understanding what President Trump and the administration is doing to stop the anarchy and chaos in all our major cities across the United States of America, on top of negotiating one of the most instrumental peace deals in, well, modern history. But putting that aside, some people don't truly understand the scope of what's happening in our big cities. They don't believe the impact of the groups and organizations like Antifa, and they don't understand the depth of funding that's actually behind those groups. Thankfully, this video opened up a lot of eyes. Well over a time of this broadcast, 100,000 eyes. And I want to thank each of you for that, to make it such a success, because it resonated with so many of you. But the funding just came into further visibility. And then President Trump takes an action step. He publishes a list, a betrayed by their leaders list, to further enhance what I reported to you yesterday, to show you specifically what the administration is preparing for. My friends, this is being so well orchestrated right now. He just went in to fill in even more of the narrative of what we should all be watching for. And for those naysayers yesterday that had declared that maybe some of the context was missing, let me give you a further educational seminar, shall I? In just a few seconds. She's back. That's right. Katie Porter's not done yet. Oh, I am so enjoying these clips. You think when the campaign was done, should be over, you should just pack it up. No, this lady cannot help herself. Her staff must truly hate her because these clips just keep leaking out.
Oh, yes. This is why I didn't want to. I need the lights off, the bright lights. I'm so sorry, but I am about to get on. Bernard, I need you to turn these off. These that are killing me. Hang on one second, everybody.
No, we should put the computer up on it.
Yes, we should have. Yes. Okay, everybody. I'm not that dark.
That's too dark.
Just a minute.
I am dying through this. It's not over yet, though. That's the best part. She's going to come back on, looking a little disheveled, mind you. Give it a second. She's rushing.
Okay, everybody. I'm sorry about that. I am in a TV studio getting ready to go on Cuomo. And so I had all those studio lights on me.
Literally, her staff must despise her. I love the staff member behind her who just looked terrified that she was going to be the next one to be yelled at by Katie Porter after yesterday's debacle of
could lose. Get out of my fucking shot.
This woman, California, please stop the bleeding. Please don't. I mean, no, maybe those of you who love Newsom so much, maybe you should vote her in, because this is even further of a train wreck. This is who you want leading your state. Please, just your state has been in enough disarray. This, in my opinion, humble opinion, is not the leader you want. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe hell will freeze over and Katie Porter is the leader you want, because hell did freeze over yesterday, because the mainstream media actually gave Trump the credit he deserved. I'm still can't even believe I'm saying that out loud.
It's about the role President Trump played in bringing all of this about.
Well, Robin, there's no question that if this goes as planned, if we see those remaining hostages freed and Israel begin its withdrawal, it is a remarkable achievement, and President Trump most certainly deserves credit for his role. He has.
I don't want to ruin it. I just want to stop it there. I don't want to ruin it, because that was actually the mainstream media giving Trump credit for what he so justly deserves. I don't know what is going on. So I'll bring myself and you back down to reality. Because you remember me showing you these texts. Jay Jones, running for Attorney General, I believe. It absolutely should never have sent any text like this. If those guys die before me, I will go to their funerals to blank on their graves. Send them a wash. 3 people, 2 bullets. Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. Things that, well, should get you in a lot of trouble. Even referring to their children. Now, anyone should immediately dismiss any violence. They should separate themselves so far away from this man, it should take a split second. Until you come to Abigail Spanberger, running for governor in the state of Virginia. Again, you folks out there in Virginia, I don't know how this woman is still even in the running or how anyone takes her seriously at all. A, she can't give a straight answer. And so she was pressed. Do you still endorse Jay Jones? Should be a steadfast no instantaneously. But of course, she's a politician. And when asked a simple yes or no question, politicians, for whatever reason, in their educational system, were never taught to say yes or no. And here's the quintessential example of that.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger. I didn't hear an answer there on the endorsement issue, so I want to just make sure. Will you continue to endorse Jay Jones to be the next Attorney General of Virginia? And were you aware of these text messages before they released? You have 30 seconds.
In fact, it appears that it was those who released the text messages and held them for years. So the public was unaware who had knowledge of these text messages for many years.
What did you do about
I learned of these text messages.
So there was the first non-answer, but not the last non-answer.
Ms. Spanberger, I understand what you're saying about the voters, but for you yourself, do you still continue to endorse Jay Jones? 15 seconds, yes or no?
We are all running our individual races. I believe my opponent has said that about her lieutenant governor nominee.
Ms. Earl Sears.
And it's up to every person to make their own decision.
Number 2, you think there might be another one? I mean, there couldn't possibly be another one, could there?
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger. We just want to clarify, what you're saying is that as of now, you still endorse Jay Jones as Attorney General.
I'm saying as of now, it's up to every voter to make their own individual decision.
So again, you can't answer a simple question. So maybe, just maybe, we should ask you another one. Should men be allowed to change in the same locker room as women?
Again, the question was, should transgender girls who are biological males be allowed to use girls' bathrooms and play on girls' sports teams in K through 12? You have 15 seconds to clarify.
In cases across Virginia, I think it's incumbent upon parents and educators and administrators in each local community to make decisions locally.
That's what this is about.
Ms. Earl Sears?
There should never be nude men
Oh,
in
my
locker
goodness,
rooms.
we finally have her saying that, but you voted for that.
Ms. Earl
Have you
Sears.
finally
My opponent
Ms.
said
Earl
that
Sears, you are
now?
just intruding on
Are
time
we in
here. We're
agreement
trying.
now? Are you
Ms.
going
Earl
to
Sears,
tell?
this is Ms. Spanberger's time. I have a follow-up question.
Her opponent is not lying. She did vote for that. But she did at least say there should not be rude men in women's locker rooms. But she would not commit to there should be no men in women's locker rooms. And thankfully, the man who's questioning her catches that. So he attempts, like the first questioner, to ask her the same question again. And she proves once again she can't give a simple answer.
Question for Ms. Spanberger. Would you rescind the Youngkin administration policy requiring boys and girls to use bathrooms aligning with their biological sex? You have 30 seconds.
My priority would be to ensure that local communities, importantly parents and teachers and educators, are able to work together to meet the unique needs of each school and each community.
But Ms. Spanberger, the question was, would you rescind the Youngkin administration policy requiring boys and girls to use bathrooms aligning with their biological sex? You have 15 seconds to clarify that question.
Yes, and my answer is that in each local community, decisions should be made between parents and educators.
This is the problem with politicians. This is why people have lost faith in the political system. Yes or no. It's really not that difficult. It truly isn't. Please stand for something, because if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything or anyone. And hence the problem we have in today's political landscape, but should expect nothing else, right? Wall Street Journal. Trump accidental social media post shows how much has changed since his first term inside the Justice Department. We learn such shocking things in this article that Trump's national security advisor, John Bolton, is expected to be charged in upcoming days. Next story. In Virginia, prosecutors are expected to seek an indictment of New York Attorney General Letitia James. Next story. Other prosecutors are investigating former CIA Director John Brennan and former FBI Director Christopher Wray. Heavy-hitting journalism. Is there any of that you didn't know already? Just asking for a friend. I hope you did, because I told you that weeks ago. And if you look at the date, that was only 2 days ago. At least CNN reported on it at about 10 days ago. Little closer to the truth. But you see, they failed to forget that Trump called him out for the same thing we already told you, that he had 274 FBI agents at J6, which technically could be construed as a lying under oath. But he has two other things against him, because the anti-Catholic Richmond memo would also be technically lying under oath. And the obstruction of an investigation into a Chinese mail-in voting scam would also technically could be considered lying under oath, but that didn't appear really in the Wall Street Journal article, now did it? I know, that's what real journalism is. Facts. It's hard for them. It's so hard for them. So we got Comey, Wray, James, Brennan. Of course, we have Bolton. But still, that list is pretty short, isn't it? But my favorite is back in the news again. Mayor Brandon Johnson, not for this memo, this is old now, this is 4 days, you know, his ICE-free zones he created. No, he decided again to up the rhetoric. All of you out there, not my main audience, not my primary audience, those who understand what's happening, those who want their city safe. No, those who like to join the agitators. Those who feel that, nothing's happening out there. Everything's fine. You're overblowing the facts. Oh, I can't wait to blow apart your reality. Chicago mayor should be in jail for failing to protect ICE officers. Governor Pritzker also, you remember that, right? You know, Trump said that. He shouldn't have said that. He doesn't have the right to say that. Huh, okay. It's almost as if he would have assumed that Mayor Brandon Johnson would have started an opposing force against him and his ICE officials. But now Mayor Brandon Johnson never said that, is what I heard yesterday. He has never said that. He is only protecting his citizens. Well, I guess until yesterday, everything we report always tends to come true now, doesn't it? So Mayor Brandon Johnson, can you do me a huge favor and prove to those naysayers in your own words that you're doing exactly what I reported you would do?
This is not about immigration. This is about a president who wants to enact authoritarianism in this country, where the rule of law doesn't apply to him and to one individual alone. And that's why I'm doing everything in my power to defend the people of this city and to lead a resistance that, quite frankly, is desperately needed to protect our democracy and
to lead a resistance. I'm sorry, was that clear enough for you? Was that black and white enough for you? I hope it was. To protect our democracy. Again, my skin crawls. I cringe every time I hear the word. The great republic of the United States of America. Even if you say constitutional republic, democracy drives me crazy. Because these agitators love to use the word democracy, and now they're saying they're going to lead a resistance, almost as if Mayor Brandon Johnson is just walking right down the path I said he would walk down. Appears he is the epicenter and the resistance leader himself. Checkmate, huh? It's all coming around, folks. That's why I went into such great detail yesterday on what that statement Trump made about going from a domestic terrorist organization to an international terrorist organization was so important. But don't worry, I'm not done. I'm not done with the naysayers yet. No, I'm just beginning. Tell them I'm a little bit aggravated today. Actually, not aggravated. I enjoy it. I actually love the challenge. It's so much fun. I want to thank each and every one of you, again, who made the video yesterday such a success. At the time of this broadcast, I think it's at 110,000 views. It resonated because we tried to keep the news very black and white, fact-driven. I play the clips. I show you the articles. So many of you joined me over at justusknight.com. So many of you went over to restrictedrepublic.com yesterday, our news platform. I know Fox News has one, CNN has one, MSNBC has one, but then real journalism exists at restrictedrepublic.com, our news platform. Lisa Haven and I built it. That's my beautiful wife there. To give you the news that matters. There's no commercials. There's no interruptions there at all. It's audience-funded news the way it was meant to be. I'm going to continue this podcast on. For those of you who don't understand exactly who Antifa is, what they do, where they're at, what they've done, what they've been indicted on, I'm going to prove out some facts to you here. We're going to start with funding. Then we're going to move to facts, because there appears to be a lot of people out there that don't understand exactly who these folks are. And they're just one group. The offshoots are staggering. So I want to thank everyone. If you're new here, welcome home. So many of you, I think 2,000 of you joined this channel yesterday. Welcome home. If you're new here today, I'd love you to join the channel. Also, help me to continue to beat the algorithm by A, joining, B, always making sure your bell is checked to all so you're alerted to upcoming broadcasts by putting a comment, by sharing the video. Those of you who joined as members here yesterday, thank you. Those who provided super thanks, it helps keeps the lights and camera on. I can't tell you, lights and cameras on, thank you so much for doing that. You are all making this channel a success. I work to provide you the news, and your work helps to keep the channel growing so more people get to hear what real news was meant to sound like, and I love each and every one of you for that. But now let's get back on with this video. So I'm going to go back to this roundtable yesterday to explain a few more things, because a lot of people miss this part of the roundtable, and this is probably the most critical part, because this goes into George Soros, Bill Gates, Arabella, or Chaos Inc. The funding go all the way back to Black Lives Matter, go into No Kings, go into current protests, go into any protest. And for protests to happen, you need funding. Now, protests can happen without funding, but they're not so organized. Pallets of bricks don't show up, signs don't magically appear, trucks don't pull up with masks. That's not really how it works. They're a little bit more fragmented. But protests that can last days and weeks on end and just magically pop up quickly with so many people, well, those are a little bit more coordinated, and that requires funding. Well, at that roundtable, an announcement was made, because the GAO, the Government Accountability and the Government Accountability Institute provided President Trump with a paper trail. And then there shortly after, he determines that he wants to declare Antifa going from domestic to international, because once they're international, you could flow the money and you could stop the money. And if you stop the money, That could scare a lot of people. And wait, didn't Bill Gates just say he was going to stop funding or providing money to Arabella advisors, almost as if he would have been tripped off that this was coming, and he made that announcement to President Trump himself? Wow, all these dots are connecting for you naysayers out there who don't believe any of this is real. Oh, my poor friends, it's very real. I know several of you probably wear black outfits and masks on a daily basis. And you probably now need to go back to your mamas and start playing your video games again, because it's going to be far safer for you there after this is all said and done. It's no joke, folks. It's no joke. You had free reign for many, many years, and that free reign's coming to an end because the data is being collected. The funding is about to come to an end. Hope you like your mom's basement.
Please, go ahead.
Mr. President, thank you for having us here and bringing together this panel of brave journalists, everybody on this side of the room. And no one can speak to the violence better than these people here. So I think we know that this is not just a story about violence and chaos, as you alluded to, Mr. President. This is a money story. And at the Government Accountability Institute, my colleague and I, Peter Schweitzer and our team, we followed the money, and we followed it to the top of what we call the protest industrial complex, Riot Inc. And we found a network of NGOs. It's not just the Soros network, the Open Society network, it's other funding networks, the Arabella funding network, the Tides funding network, Neville Roy Singham and his network, Foreign Cash. And it's also big left-wing funders. Some of them are not citizens of this country. Mr. Hans-Jörg Wyss of Switzerland. They're pouring money into this entire ecosystem. And so I want to share 3 money facts with you about what we call Riot Inc. Number 1.
I'm going to stop there because this is unprecedented for these groups to even be named in a public forum, for these facts to ever be outed directly to a presidential forum, for these people to even be said to exist, let alone be tied to these movements and these protests. Unprecedented. And sitting at that table is Kristi Noem, the Attorney General Pam Bondi, Steve Miller. Just look around. Kash Patel. Everyone who matters is at this table. This is no small announcement. This is a monumental declaration of things to come.
Like any corporation, Riot Inc. has many divisions. It doesn't just have the Antifa boots on the ground division. It has PR divisions. It has marketing divisions. It has a very well-funded legal division to get these boots on the ground back on the streets as quickly as possible. But it does have those investors that I mentioned. Number 2, we have identified dozens of radical organizations, not just the decentralized Antifa organizations, but dozens of radical organizations that have received more than $100 million from the Riot Inc. investors. These would be the lawyer groups. These would be the groups that advocate for calling good, honest Americans fascists, etc.
Stopping there again, because my job here as a journalist is to provide commentary. I always love the folks that say, just let the clip play. Well, you can watch these clips anywhere. The reason you're here is for me to provide commentary. That's my job. So, why does that make a difference, what he just stated? Because this is larger than just Antifa. If and when President Trump declares Antifa as a international terrorist organization, it will allow for them to then use the full force of the government to out these funding networks, to seize their assets, because they are not only funding Antifa, they are funding a multitude of groups. You seize the assets because they're associated with Antifa. You seize all their assets. So none of these groups can exist without that money. And guess what happens? Chaos turns to peace. And so more information is provided to the president.
And then 3, I think the most shocking thing is that we have found that more than $100 million in U.S. taxpayer funding has flowed into these funding networks, including at least $4 million to these very groups themselves, not just Antifa types, but there was an event in Atlanta called Stop Cop City. Over 60 rioters were charged with domestic terrorism. These groups received money for that.
All right, we're going to end the clip there because the rest I can provide you information on. Seamus Brenner there, providing the information. Let's move forward. 60 people, remember that. Show you the footage of those people magically appearing. The beginning of the end for Chaos Inc. or Riot Inc., depending on which name you want to use. The Government Accountability Institute has mapped how these non-governmental funding networks for those naysayers out there were funded by your and my tax dollars. Non-governmental funding networks intersect with protest and activist movements across the U.S. The chaos and unrest spreading across the country, especially the ongoing anti-ICE violence, is shockingly well organized. Oh, that's right. The mainstream media says it's not organized because they want you to believe it's not organized, because if it is organized, then President Trump could do exactly what he's about to do and already did through the domestic terrorism designation, turn it into international terrorism designation, and then go after the likes of, are you ready for it? Arabella, Fifth, Ford, Rockefeller, Singham, Soros, Tides. Oh my goodness gracious, that is over $100 million, $159 million to be more specific. Now, innocent until proven guilty, but this funding has now been provided to President Trump. Domestic extremists and or civil unrest advocates. They've left the groups that money's moving towards hidden here in this presentation of information. Don't worry, you know I have the information. Cities like Portland, Chicago, and Los Angeles have seen repeated anti-ICE protests that escalate into riots. GAI, Government Accountability Institute. Research reveals how these events were financed and coordinated, and what oversight exists for charitable or profitable funding streams. Stop Cop City. Unrest in Atlanta led to more than 60 arrests for violent crimes ranging from aggravated assault to domestic terrorism. RICO and money laundering charges were filed against the organizers, and GAI's analyst highlights the biggest NGO funders. Now we have direct ties. Look at that organization just moving into the area. Look how, well, that's not coordinated. No, all those folks just magically showed up at the same time and found a back entrance into the protest. That's what many people would call organized. 60 of those people ended up arrested. Look how organized and coordinated that is. But let's go further. Because the people who were there, the funding of $6 million, Network for Strong Communities, Community Movement Builders, Climate Justice Alliance, well, they were able to track the funding back and how they received it. This has been provided to the government. It's not organized, huh? It's not coordinated at all. Ended up in this damage and the 60 arrests and RICO charges being filed. And imagine when Trump's able to make this international terrorism connections. Now yesterday's video even becomes more impactful, doesn't it? And this is what we're moving towards. It's the same as the Tesla takedown. It's the same as No Kings. And it's the same as the Portland protests. And it's the same as Black Lives Matter. All of these needed funding to exist. And if it is proven that that funding, well, results in the, well, what did Trump say? Countering domestic terrorism and organizing political violence. I'm just going to now wrap this into a nice little bow for you, because he is the one who has provided all the information. If you go down into his memorandum, it simply states non-governmental organizations, NGOs, and American citizens residing abroad or with close ties to foreign governments, agents, citizens, foundations, or influential networks engaged in violations of Foreign Agent Registration Act or money laundering by funding, creating, or supporting entities that engage in activities that support or encourage domestic terrorism. Anyone has a right to protest in the Great Republic of the United States of America if it remains peaceful. It's when those actions turn violent or result in damage to property, bodily harm, that it crosses a line. If you were to organize any event and someone was to get injured at that event, you are held liable. If any of these protests turn violent, harm is to occur, damage was to occur, those who helped to organize and or fund that event would be held liable. To date, these NGOs, non-governmental organizations, have not been held liable. The administration is about to change that. And they started through the domestic terrorism moniker. They're about to move it to the international terrorism moniker. Hence why Bill Gates decided to pull out of Arabella Dark Money Network. Now, does it all make sense? I hope I was able to tie that all together for you pretty easily. So what steps could be taken? Intensify investigations into the funding networks. Determine if there has been illegalities or infractions. End taxpayer subsidies to groups tied to unlawful conduct. Improve disclosure for fiscal sponsors and bail funds. Review nonprofit status compliance. Strengthen enforcement against fraud and violence financing. How do you do that? Through exactly what Trump and the administration are doing. And you don't believe it's moving forward? GAI also revealed there's another left-wing funder, such as Roy Singham, potentially behind the Antifa riots. And guess what happens? Congress is now demanding investigation into China-based billionaire Neville Roy Singham, who funded radical groups, including one linked to the LA riots. It's all coming down. Portland, fake news ignores Antifa violence. Residents pleas for help. Published October 8th, 2025 by the White House. In it is stated, of course, Portland's own citizens betrayed by their leaders. And what the White House does is start to outline the roadmap of things to come. They outline the infractions and indictments of so far one single group, Antifa, which ties into the naysayers that I had some contact me yesterday about the broadcast. Antifa's done nothing. Trump's overreacting. So he starts to give examples by example by example of everything Antifa has done in this country. You see, the government is now recording everything, and they are tracking everything, and they provided a list now. And they're going to begin doing this on every single organization because they are collecting the data. Back to my original statement, for years of Antifa-led hellfire has turned Portland into a wasteland of firebombs, beatings, and brazen attacks on federal officers and property, yet the fake news remains in shameful denial. Why does he state that? Well, that's right.
Is the operative part of that sentence. Antifa is far from a major sophisticated terror organization like Hezbollah, Hamas, or ISIS. In fact, it's not even like far-right groups like the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers, which have had national leaders, unlike Antifa. There is no organized hierarchy to the group, and according to the Center for Strategic and International Studies, compared to right-wing extremists, Antifa-linked violence is rare and limited.
I can't see why the White House stated that. Isn't accurate, moderated journalism an amazing thing? You see, there's not many statements I make without being able to back them up. Actually, it's extremely rare. Hence, why this channel's growing, I guess, huh? But it's not only media. I guess it's the likes of Adam Schiff, too, huh? We can't rule out Trump launching military strikes on domestic groups. Who are they protecting exactly? And I haven't even gone through the events that Antifa's done, which I'm about to. As we continue on, I just wanted to make sure I addressed those naysayers yesterday. There's no funding behind what's going on. It's not organized. The media is not denying it. Trump's overreacting. I don't think he's doing what you're saying. He hasn't said that. Seriously, folks? Really? Man, you're used to fighting non-journalists. Because in this realm, you don't stand a chance. Till next time. I hope you follow me now over to restrictedrepublic.com, because that's just the beginning of the evidence. Wait till you get the rest. I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justus Knight. For the moment, signing out.